Okay. Okay. Today we have reached our 17th lecture, and we are about to complete our lecture series in next 2-3 lectures. So I must congratulate all and thanks for their participations and now cooperation throughout the lecture series. As you all know, this lecture series is basically on social what social issues we are passing through day by day, and how to address all such issues. Based on that, we have designed this second lecture series, uh, and today is the 17th lecture of this series, and we have with us Miss R. Chandramaulika. Will be basically talking on skill development, preparing CV for internship and jobs. Uh, we have with us uh, Dr. Renuka Kumar, academic consultant, Directorate of Distance and Continuing Education, Utkal University, Bhubaneswar, Odisha. I request Dr. Renuka Kumar to introduce our speaker. Over to you, ma'am.
Thank you, Pradeep sir. Um,
Can
my
switch on
camera
your
is also,
video. My video
yeah,
is not
it's
working.
not,
See,
it's not, I don't know why it is not opening. The camera is not opening here.
oh, acha, acha.
Okay. It was working, but now it's not opening. Okay, anyway, um, dear friends, a very good evening to one and all. I'm Dr. Renuka Kumar, Academic Consultant, Department of Social Work, DDC, Utkal University, Odisha. I welcome you all to the Gyanalok Saturday lecture series on social development issues and role of development professionals jointly organized by Gyanalok Trust and Department of Social Work, DDCE, Utkal University, Odisha. Today we have with us an eminent speaker, Ms. R. Chandramaulika. Ms. R. Chandramaulika is currently working as Monitoring, Evaluation and Learning Manager in Snow India Pvt Limited, New Delhi, India. Ms. Chandramaulika has completed her BSc in Physics Honours from SCS Autonomous College, Puri, Odisha. After BSc, she did her MSW from National Institute of Social Work and Social Science, Bhubaneswar, Odisha. During her MSW, she was conferred as Best Volunteer of NISWAS for the year 2013. Ms. Chandramaulika has about 10 years of professional experience of working in both public and private sector. She has worked with Department of Steel and Mines, Government of Odisha as young professional and then joined development sector. She has extensive experience in health system, especially in HIV/AIDS and TB. She has worked with multiple donor-funded projects such as GFATM, MAC/AIDS, PUN, and USAID. She has worked with the reputed organizations like Sathi, Alliance India, XIMB, etc. Ms. Chandrabolika has command over interpersonal communication, documentation, technical writing, data visualization, and developing frameworks. Out of her vast knowledge and experience in development sector, skill development, and keen understanding about the status of job market, Ms. Chandramaulika will deliver today on skill development, preparing CV for internship and jobs. On behalf of Gyanalok Trust, Department of Social Work, DDC, Utkal University, and all participants present in today's lecture, I welcome our speaker, Ms. Chandramaulika, and request to address the audience. Over to you, madam.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you for this beautiful introduction. Thank you, Gyanalok and Pradeep, for giving me this opportunity, and a warm evening to all of you, to all the friends over here. As you all know, we are going to speak about the skill building on preparing the resume for job and internship. At the outset, I would like to give some disclaimer, as it is very important. Like, this is not the way or the only way to do it. There are many other ways. However, I have tried my best to compile all the possible suggestions that I could propose to the August gathering here. And this is specifically addressed for people who are fresh pass outs, who are freshers, and who want to build a CV and want to change their profession, change their sector or career. Before I start my presentation, if anyone can please confirm if I am audible.
Yes, ma'am, you are audible.
Yes, ma'am, you are audible.
Just give me a second. I'm trying to. Yeah, is my screen audible? Sorry, is my screen visible?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you for confirmation. So going into discussing the business of the day, today we will discuss first about yourself. Like, understanding self is the key part of building a resume. So building a resume, we have divided in 3 steps. First is understand yourself, your interest and skills, and then decipher the job ad which you are looking at or for which you want to prepare the resume, prepare the CV, and then we can discuss about art of resume building or how to build the resume. The first part of it is understanding your interest and skills. So basically, when we say interest, when I specifically say interest, I want you to understand like what you really like to do and enjoy doing. It is very crucial when we talk of job, when we talk of employment, when we talk of internship. It is very crucial to understand what do I actually love doing. A job for the sake of job can never be fruitful for you for your development. And then mapping the skills about what you are good in doing, what you are competent doing, or what you are competent that you can learn and do it. That is also a key part of understanding your interests. There are many ways of doing it. For example, during the social work course that you have undergone, or during any course that you have undergone, you could have sensed your interest. You could have sensed, like, I want to work in SHG, I want to work for health, I want to work for, say, education. That is key. That is key to understand the force that drives you. And the skills, whether you're good at speaking, whether you're good at writing, whether you're good at drafting the reports, whether you're good at compiling desk reviews. That is having sense of your own self. You can get it while doing your masters, while doing your professional course. Apart from that, there are other ways also. For example, you can do your SWOT analysis. By SWOT we mean strength, weakness, opportunity and threats. I can say, I can map it in a matrix, that what are my strengths, what are my weakness, opportunities and threats. This is a completely manual exercise. If you are well aware of SWOT framework, we can do it for ourselves. Another example is there are online platforms which can guide you, which can decipher you, decode you for yourself. You will get at the end the result which maybe you cannot find it yourself. One of the platforms which I prefer always is viacharacter.org. It's a very simple platform. It asks you multiple questions, and then you can see what you're strong at, what are your aptitude, what is your weakness, what you want to improve. This is also one kind of personality test that you can take to understand your skills and your aptitude. Another very easy way of doing it is taking tests available in LinkedIn. LinkedIn is a real good platform, and we will talk about it in a later, sorry, excuse me. We can talk about it in a later stage. But these are the these are the suggestions that I have for now for you to understand yourself and understand your skills. I would request if, as we do in the lecture series, you can try putting down your questions in the chat. We will take it at the end of the lecture. The second part of the art of building a resume is deciphering the job ad. While you look at a job ad, the key question that you should ask is what is the role and responsibility that this vacancy has, that this job ad is talking of. What are the areas of work, whether that is management, whether that is field work, whether that is health, whether that is education. Nowadays, we have so many specializations that the job ads are not clear. Then it's very crucial for you to understand whether that particular position is clearly delineating any particular kind of role or responsibility, and what is the level of effort that is required, whether the job requires an effort of 8 hours, whether the job requires an effort of maybe 6 hours or 10 to 12 hours. So it also depends on how much time a candidate can afford to the level of effort that is required for the job. While it is very much understood that right from reading the job description, it's difficult to gather so much information about the job. However, by practicing it repeatedly and by going through various ads and by comparing themselves with each other, one can easily have a fair sense of what the job ad is trying to make. So what I want to suggest here is just don't, go for the job for the sake of, there is a vacancy and I want to join, or there is this company I want to join. Maybe in that company, if I give an example, I want to join a specific company, but my skill set may not suit the job ad that is currently I am looking at. So that is the key, to decipher the job ad and see if the skills that I have matches the skills that the job requires. The one principle that we all should remember is we shouldn't go by title. Nowadays, program manager, program associate, project officer, these can mean different in different places. For example, in WHO, the NPO, National Professional Officer, National Program Officer, is a very high level state, in national level position, and it goes for people who have 15-20 years of work experience. Whereas in any other NGOs, if you go through National Program Officer, it might not be at that level, or they might not require those 15-20 years of experience. So it is very key to understand that job titles may be same, but what they mean or what the organizations mean by that title is very different. So while looking at the job ad, this is also one thing we should go through. We should think about, we should retrospect on this, what the job title is. And also, not only roles and responsibilities, not only the job ad, you also need to go through the organization details and try to look out for the work culture. That is a key for sustenance and capacity building and development of one's career. So you should go through, if you have never heard of the organization, try to Google it, try to ask from the network that you belong to, whether this organization, how much this organization works and in what all areas it works, whether this has any conflict with the existing, the existing legalities, whether they are compliant or not. For organizations which are very famous, anything that they violate or they do is easily accessible for people with good network. But there are organizations which are very much in the wheeland. You may need to slowly explore about the organization. That is one thing which we need to keep in mind. Go through the organization's details too, not only the job ad. Look for the keywords that match your interest. If I look, coming from an experience of HIV, TB, and health background, if I would look at a job ad, then I will definitely search health, public health, health systems, public health action, HIV, TB, prevention, medicine, community medicine. So these are the terms which is of my interest or which matches my experience. So you need to find out these keywords. To actually, it is very difficult and a tidy process to scan the job ad through yourself and to find out the process. So there are many websites, many tools which will actually form a word cloud for you from the job ad. You can paste any text in that platform and they will give you the keywords. They will give you which word is appearing how many times in that particular document. So that can be one shortcut or one way to go about to search if the keywords that matches your interest is there or not. Experience level, that is very important. You can of course think of, if that is like, if they are asking for 2-3 years of experience and you are just fresher with internship, you can apply. But then if they're asking for 7-8 years of experience, then you need to hold and think whether your skills are competent enough to apply for that position or to reach out to them. So that is very crucial. You need to scan through for experience level. And of course, matching skills and competences. So if in one job ad, it requires a person with data analysis and you are a person with community mobilization as your core skill and you are not worked with data till date, then you need to think whether you should really go for that job. Do you really want to go for that job? So these are the points that we need to look through while going through a job ad, while we want to decipher this job ad for us. The next and the most important part, which is the core of our topic today, is the resume building. How you want to build your resume. So resume, if you see the multiple terms we use, CV, which is curriculum vitae, there is resume, there is biodata. Although all three of these terms are used interchangeably, it also depends with different zones, different geographies of our world. So maybe in Australia, they don't say resume at all. They say only CV or biodata. Maybe in Europe, there is a different term. But then all these three are very near to each other. They are not very secluded. They are not very specific. They are very close to each other. And that's why there is always a confusion and there is an element of interchangeability. You can use CV instead of resume, resume instead of CV. So that follows. But still, for our understanding and for a general practice, we will try to understand what is the major difference between a CV, a resume, and a biodata. The resume, as it is very famous, and most of the people try to address this as a resume and want a resume. If you see, maximum people want a resume rather than a CV or biodata. It is the shortest form of the document. It is max 2 pages, includes relevant skills and certifications. When I say relevant, this is a very key word which we will discuss in detail in upcoming slides. It's a very relevant document for that particular job. While CV is a bit more detailed than resume and includes all the skills and certifications that you possess as a candidate. Biodata, along with CV, biodata also includes personal information along with the professional information, and it is the longest form of your introduction that you will ever give. So biodata is the lengthiest of all the documents, resume being the shortest. As far as resumes are concerned, there are 3 types of resumes. One is chronological, one is functional, and one is combination. Although the the combination resume is the one which is always used. We will just, sorry, anyone is trying to say something? Sorry, anyone is trying to say something? Okay, I think no. Types of resume. The chronological resume is one in which one mentions the work experience and qualification in reverse chronological order, which necessarily means that if I'm currently working at JSI, I will write JSI first, and then the organization I was working previously, and then the organization I was working even before that. So in a reverse chronological order, we mention our roles and responsibilities, the work experience first, and then it also includes qualification. It also in reverse chronological order, like if I have done my masters, then I will write about masters, then bachelor's, going on. Functional whereas do not actually stresses upon, the focus is not on work experience, the focus is more on skills and expertise. And combination, it's as the name itself explains, is a combination of both chronological and functional. So it will include your work experience as well as skills and expertise. And this is the most common form of resume you will come across. Many people actually use this type of resume. Whereas for freshers, functional is always suggested, because the max a fresher can have is a current job or an internship. That is what the assumption is, and then based on that, it's better to focus on your skills, expertise, and interest rather than the work experience, so that you have the scope of expanding your work experience, expanding the sector that you have based on your interest, obviously. This is a slide on sections of a resume for freshers. While I say freshers, I distinctly want to highlight this, that people with a lot of experience tend to have a different type of resume. And as our audience here currently consists of people who are pursuing masters or have done their masters recently, therefore this slide is specially dedicated for those. This is the section for freshers. So I will quickly glance through all the sections that is mentioned here, and I'll just briefly explain what section should include which information. So contact information, it should include your name, your contact details like phone number, mail ID, and if possible, LinkedIn profile, and your address. For communication, although nowadays address is not so much required typically, but you can put your address. The key part here is, don't put your name which is a pet name. Don't put your name which maybe someone tends to call you with. You should write your official name here. And the contact information should be authentic, through which you can be reached. Else it gives a very different connotation, a very different perception right from the beginning. It is always preferred that your mail ID should be a very professional mail ID to give. For example, if I would say my mail ID, then it should be rchandramaulika maybe yahoo.com, rather than some fancy like Ghost Rider or I love mountains . So these are the mail IDs which are not professional looking and which don't give a good perception about the professional aspect of the candidate. So it is always suggested that the contact information, the mail ID should be very much professional and linked to your name or your education, maybe chandramaulika.msw@yahoo.in, something like that. Then comes resume objective. The resume objective should be very feasible and succinct, maybe in couple of sentences or 3 words or 3 sentences. If I can give an example, it should be, I'm a fresh master's pass out batch, maybe 2020-21, looking for a career in health sector in data systems. That's the one which is like the objective of the resume. Looking for a career in a national organization, you can add the specific organization you are looking at. That needs to be very feasible and succinct. It shouldn't be the overall goal of your life. It shouldn't be like, I want to be a change maker, or I want to stir this social mobilization. The resume objective should be very much visible and succinct. It shouldn't go into paras. It should be a couple of sentences or three. Then education details. As far as resume is concerned, you should only mention education that is relevant to the job you are applying for. If there are degrees which are not relevant to the job, for example, you have done maybe like in my case, if I have done BSc in physics and masters in social work. So whenever I apply for a development sector job, I prefer not putting my BSc physics there, because the degree itself is not aiding to my profile in pitching my application to that particular position. It adds no information at all about my skills or my competences. But at the same time, if I'm pursuing diploma in nutrition, then I can definitely write, and I prefer writing that I'm pursuing diploma in nutrition, because for development sector jobs, which is about health, which is about nutrition or maternal child health, this diploma in nutrition gives information that I have knowledge of nutrition. I am acquiring knowledge about nutrition. So you need to be very calculative and mindful of not putting additional information which do not add up to your application or do not help in pitching for that job. And same goes for internship. If I have done internship in agriculture, I have done another internship in human rights, but I'm applying for health, then, and that too in a core health program, then maybe I will consider the work that I have done in agriculture internship and the other internship before writing it. If the activities are relevant, then definitely I will add. But if the activities are not at all relevant, I was doing something else in some internship and I'm applying for something else altogether, then you need to think if you really want to add that internship details. And again, as I said, skills, certifications, and awards, that goes as per the requirement of the job. That is not something which you are bound to add. That is something which you can add, or you may decide whether you want to add or not. You need to mention hobbies for sure, but if you have hobbies that relate to the sector in which you are trying to apply. I suggest avoiding any fancy or unrelated hobbies. For example, if I love cycling, I love hiking, I love trekking, the organization I'm applying to don't have anything to do with these hobbies, then it is absolutely not required. But if I'm applying to an organization which is working in Indian Himalayan region per se, and I say I love hiking, I can hike, or I'm I'm good at covering distances, I don't have altitude sickness, then maybe that will add up to your candidature. But if that is not the case, then you need to understand, you need to filter out what are the hobbies that you want to put in your resume. The key word here is relevancy. Whenever you apply for a job, try to put the relevant information. That is the thumb rule for preparing the resume. Video resume, yes, nowadays it's a trend. People are of course asking for video resume, which is about, I prepare a hard copy resume and I would like to prepare a video based on that hard copy resume, but it is a video recording me describing about myself and recording it for the sake of my prospective employer or the recruiter to listen to me, to see me, to study my body language also. So that is a new trend. It's in nowadays. But the sincere point here that I would like to make is, don't hurry and make a video resume the moment you heard about it or the moment you realize that you want to do it. Rather, wait till you are asked for it. While it is very much in fashion, while it is very much in trend, but it's not required everywhere. It is required in very specific cases, and you are specifically asked to submit a video resume, and then you should go ahead and develop a video resume. While developing a video resume, you should note a couple of points which is very much clear. That is, if I want to summarize it, I would say that a video resume should be a very professional one. What does that mean? That means that you should be in a formal attire, background should be clean, visibly, and audio wise. There shouldn't be any noise, or there shouldn't be any kind of hanky panky background when you are recording this. It is not about just reading out your resume. Reading out your resume will be a very boring video, but you should interact and you should explain. It should be like you are talking to the person behind that screen and explaining why you want that job, or why you want to apply for that job. What is that actually drives you for that job, apart from what you have written in the resume? It's not, you need to add information, add points on what you have mentioned in the hard copy resume. And you should sound professional. When I say sound professional, it means um, that there should be an interview. So these are couple of points to keep in mind when you are asked to develop a video resume. But again, I would like to highlight, don't rush to make a video resume. It's not so prevalent, not so often, but still, yes, when you're asked, you need to make it. Another key part of resume is cover letter. Inevitably, like as far as I have seen or experienced, almost all, if I could safely say, around 80-90% of jobs, they do demand a cover letter along with the resume. So what is the role of cover letter? What we want to say through the cover letter, that is the key. Cover letter is about highlighting your suitability or fitment to the advertised position. And therefore, the key which I should underline here is this should be different for every position. You cannot prepare a single cover letter and send it across to every job that you are applying. It should be specific, should be tailor-made to the job ad that you are looking at. Apart from summarizing skills, so it is definitely about summarizing your skills. It is not your CV, it is not your resume. You shouldn't copy paste text from that, but you can lift the keywords and summarize your skills and not detailed achievements. For example, if I say I have conducted community-based camps, then I should say, as part of my skill, organizing community-based camps, rather than saying in the cover letter that I have organized n number of community-based camps in so and so district. That part, the quantitative part, should go into the resume, whereas the skills, summarizing your skills, should come to the cover letter. It's not necessary that you put paragraphs. You can also add bulleted points for ease of reading, because when one glances through, he is actually trying to get the keywords. He's actually trying to understand your core potencies. So it is easy for the person who reads to glance through bulleted points rather than detailed paragraphs. The cover letter should also contain motivation for the advertised position. You should be in a position to speak why you are applying for a job. For example, you are applying for monitoring, evaluation, and learning manager position. You should be in a position to say why, what motivates you to this. So you can say, like, I have experience in monitoring. I'm keen for learning I'm keen for learning the overall the MEL position essence in that particular sector, maybe in TV. I have experience of evaluation. I'm keen to deep dive into the sector in which you are working. You can even for the matter, you can also say that I'm interested to work with your organization, as your organization is one of the growing organizations in the development sector. But then you should be able to actually put the motivation for which you are applying for this advertised position. It's always better to use same type of format as of resume, because you send your resume and cover letter together. It is always better to use the same type of format in terms of font, in terms of font size, in terms of spacing, margins, font color, and whatever formatting things that can come to your mind, including the if you are using any watermark on your resume, then you can also put that watermark in your cover letter so that you can highlight the connectivity into, and you can actually emphasize without saying, and help the reader in identifying that this cover letter came with the following resume. That is suggested. It goes without saying that you need to do all the spell checks, grammar checks, and formatting errors before you send out any document, whether resume or cover letter. Don't add any contradictory info in resume. Info in cover letter that is contradictory to your resume. It should always be coherent with the resume. Cover letter should add on, should support your resume rather than contradicting it. So you should also check for the continuity of information, the commonality of information you have put in cover letter as well as resume. And whether asked or not, always prefer sending cover letter with resume. This is the pitch. Resume may or may not be the pitch, but cover letter is the pitch for the job. That is, cover letter is the application for the job from your end. Here are some do's and don'ts. We will quickly glance through what you should do and what you don't do while sending your resume or cover letter, or sending your resume and cover letter together, or preparing it. As I said again, I can't stress enough how important it is that you should highlight most relevant experience. That is the key for your resume. Highlight relevant experience. Optimize for applicant tracking system. So I will just quickly tell you about applicant tracking system. In higher level organizations which receive CVs, applications in hundreds of numbers, the application shortlisting from the long list that they have received is not done manually. They have they have developed softwares which will actually shortlist the application, and that is done by picking the keywords. So the usual understanding is the job description's keywords should be matching with your resume's keywords, and the phrases, and then that will help you in shortlisting of the application through applicant tracking system. So you should actually optimize it for applicant tracking system, in the sense tailoring your resume to that particular job ad by adding the keywords that is mentioned. There can be synonyms in your resume, but then tracking system sadly don't recognize that. You need to put the words that are there in the job application. Use data, that is, quantify your work and achievements wherever possible. So the example that I gave, that is on the community-based camps. In resume, I can definitely put like how many camps I have conducted, organized, in which many districts or regions of India. For example, I can say I have done camps in North India, I have done in Northeast areas, and so on and so forth. This quantifiers will highlight your not only your achievement but also your presence, your expertise in various fields and various activities. You should definitely include soft skills such as interpersonal communication, soft skills such as presenting your achievements, uh, or or decision making, how you can decide, or managing a team. So there are many skills that you can definitely correlate with, and there are better representation of that skills also. So you need to include all the soft skills that you correlate with, that you believe that you have in the resume, and that is relevant to that particular position. I keep it saying again and again, it should be relevant to the position. If the volunteer experience that you have is relevant, then please do also put the volunteer experience that you have in the field in which there is this ad, or for the position for which you are pitching. You can think of new ways of framing your ideas. That is always encouraged. um, Encouraged, but with a caveat, or with a rider, I would say that this should make sense. It shouldn't You shouldn't be overdoing it. You shouldn't be doing this for the sake of doing this. You should come up with new ways to frame your ideas, but it should make sense in the larger perspective of your resume. And if you have a good number of years of experience, you can use career summary instead of objective statement. So think about 15, 20 years down the lane, working for so many decades. You can always put your career summary saying, I have done strategies, I have done policies, I have done advocacy, rather than saying, I want to come and join a company which is upcoming in the field or growing with the company. That doesn't simply make sense. So it is not for freshers to put career summary, but for senior people, they can always put career summary instead of objective statement. What not to do? Don't use cliches or jargons. We generally use NTB social determinants, which may or may not be understood by someone who comes from education background. So the jargons needs to be avoided. Write it in a very clear, no undertones. That would be easier for the reader to read or understand what you have done. That is the key. Don't try to hide gaps. Hiding the gaps is like not being honest, not being transparent, which is not at all encouraged. So don't hide gaps in careers, gaps in knowledge. Don't hide gaps. It's always good to write about. And nowadays, every interviewer asks about what are your areas of improvement. You need to be very honest. You need to think on that before going to the interview and before putting it in your resume. What are the areas of your interest or improvement? As I said, SWOT analysis is one of the way to understand your threats, your opportunities, which you can build upon, which you can always mention whenever you try to put it in a resume or in an interview. Don't include obvious things. Um, for example, if I will not include my matriculation certificate in my resume, because if I have done bachelor's, if I have done master's, then it's obvious that I have completed my higher secondary education. So try not to include obvious things. Don't mention random unrelated hobbies, as I already told you. Don't copy the advertisement's exact words. What people generally do is, while trying to put their skills and competences, they always tend to copy the exact words, exact frames. Actually, it's not about words, actually exact frame of words that you want to copy. So it is best to avoid the exact frame of words, how they have been written. Don't shy out if you don't have any relevant experience. If you want to change sector, for example, from health to education or legal or environment, wherever you want to go, but you don't have enough experience of that sector, then don't shy out in highlighting that you don't have experience in that sector. So for freshers, this is very much, this is very much relevant. This is very much contextual, that currently you don't have enough experience of any one particular sector. So whenever you want to put an application, you should always say explicitly or implicitly that you want to learn more about that sector. It's always good not to, mention negative words, rather put it across saying learning. So it is, you should mark your frame of words, and you shouldn't shy away from saying you don't have a relevant experience. Similarly, you shouldn't mislead about your GPA or skills. For example, I don't know French, but only because it's a UN position and French is a language, I shouldn't say I know French. This is very, misleading, and this shouldn't be done at all. Um, and always check, for spelling and grammar errors. Never ignore spelling or grammar errors. So the next, and I think the penultimate slide, is about the tips and tricks about submitting a resume, building a resume. What I would like to suggest is always submit the resume and cover letter in a PDF format unless asked otherwise. For example, I know a couple of advertisements from Plan International, Plan India, who specifically ask for resumes in Word format. Then you have to submit. There are many organizations who ask for resumes in Word format. Otherwise, it's always good to send resumes in a PDF format. Check for fonts, standardization, size. Keep it formal. Don't use colorful fonts for anything. In case you want to highlight, use bold, italics, or you can underline. But don't use any colorful fonts for, like, you may be tempted to mark that word in red, in blue. Don't do that. That is not a professional way of keeping it. Use the templates that are available in Word, which are easy to choose. Although the downside of using these templates is many of the templates are not format friendly. You cannot make edits as per your wish. But the good part about these templates is you can choose fresher template, you can choose manager template, you can always choose data person template. You will get a similar cover letter template also. So you will have resume template and cover letter template. While you use this template, please do keep in mind that it's very crucial to convert these files into PDF. Otherwise, there are chances that the person who is reading it has actually going through a distorted form of the Word document that you have sent. So while submitting resume and cover letter in PDF is encouraged, it is specifically encouraged while you use templates that are available in MS Word. Make appropriate margins, like avoid overdoing it, but still you need to make space for margins. Take calculated risks. So, for example, if you want to show your career progression, you can draw a timeline neatly right from the beginning of your master's to date, what all you have done. And it should go in a very distinct position in the Word file that you are submitting. So, or showing the areas of interest as a Venn diagram. So the sectors of interest that you actually want to show, you can show it as a Venn diagram, but then you need to do this in a very calculated manner. You shouldn't overdo it. You shouldn't put graph in everything. You shouldn't put bar graph, bar chart, histograms in your career progressions or kind. It should be very simple, very contextual, and very much in line with what you are trying to present in the resume. I know for sure there are people who shy away from adding their photo, but a photo in your resume is always better for emphasis. The person to whom you are speaking can actually connect with your resume if it has a face to the name. Nowadays, photo templates are very much in trend. Adding a photo is always good. Now, the one of the crucial part of the contemporary job searching thing is leveraging social media, and in particular LinkedIn. Why I say LinkedIn is the professional platform. LinkedIn is a platform which gives you opportunities for this social networking, professional networking, I would rather say, and many other things that I have noted down here. You can join networks, you can take skill test. You can also import your CV from LinkedIn. Nowadays, it is enabled in many of the jobs that you can apply through LinkedIn. So keep your profile updated and apply through LinkedIn. It will actually help you in importing your CV directly from LinkedIn. Many of the forms nowadays that the organizations use as a user interface for job application gets auto-filled, auto-populated from your LinkedIn profile. So LinkedIn, you can leverage it. That is very free of cost, easily available. It has many pro sites to it. So you should be active on LinkedIn. Keep your profile updated. You can take skill tests. There are skill tests for Excel. There are skill tests for Word, for PPT, for data analysis. And the best part is if you put your designation and interest there, it will suggest skill test for you automatically. You need not to go around and search the skill test which will suit your profile. So take skill tests, post the skill test results in LinkedIn, post certificates of other course completed by you, maybe a distance course, maybe a certificate course from UN sites, maybe a certificate course from USAID site. You try, keep it posting. What happens is the algorithm of LinkedIn then starts showing you jobs that is relevant to your skills, your interests. You can build network, join network of professionals that will always, you know, be helpful when you are in search of a job or in search of skill building. Join professional groups which not only post information but also job openings. For example, there are groups for monitoring and evaluation globally as well as nationally. So when you join those groups, they don't only post the relevant information, the relevant frameworks, the relevant techniques, or the courses that are available for that particular field. They also post jobs that are relevant for that field. They also post references for that field. So it is crucial for your development as well as job search if you are trying to build a network. LinkedIn is absolutely indispensable in nowadays. It is very crucial. You should post your professional and academic accomplishments that adds on to your profile in LinkedIn. To wrap up the session, I have listed down some of the job sites. DevNet India is famous, DevNet Jobs India. That's the go-to site for every development sector worker, every development professional, whether fresher or not or experienced, they go to DevNet Jobs India. Another site is NGO Box. Here you can not only find jobs, you can also find internships, you can find scholarships, you can find fellowships, you can find grants. So NGO Box has multiple options. LinkedIn Jobs, as I say, if you open your LinkedIn, then you have a different jobs profile. There is a profile for the social media, actual interaction, and there is a jobs profile. So you can always go to the LinkedIn Jobs. SAM's portal is again one of the job portals which lists the jobs that are available. SDJ India is by far the latest addition to this list, and they are also actively posting the jobs in various groups and in LinkedIn, so you can follow them and keep an eye on them also. Thank you everyone for your patient listening. I hope that I was able to convey that I wanted to, and I'm open for questions, if any. Pradeep, if you are trying to say anything, then you are not audible.
Thank you so much, Moulika. Saubhagya Ranjan want to ask a question. Please, Saubhagya, you can unmute and ask your question.
Okay. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much, ma'am. Firstly, I would like to express my deep gratitude for this wonderful session, ma'am. Actually, it is the for instance, it is the most demanding things that you have presented in a such a nice way. Uh, and I also feel very happy because I am from Sathi. Currently, I'm working as a district coordinator in Care India. So being a professional, so I feel very happy. And the things that you have mentioned in the in the PPT, it is clearly appreciable from my side, and definitely I will also implement these things in my life. And ma'am, I have a question. How many pages should be in a CV? Suppose you are making any kind of CV, then how many pages it should be?
Uh, Thank you, Subhagya, for your kind words. Thanks a lot. I feel honored that the session has been of some help. Coming to your question, uh, there is no stipulated number of pages for a CV. If I can share my experience, my first CV that I made was of some 8 pages or so, 8 odd pages, yes. But then I would suggest try to keep it up to 3 to 4 pages max. That is an ideal thing that I came across through my experience. And as I said, there is no laid down rule for that, but this is just convention.
Okay, thank you so much, ma'am. And okay, thank you so much, ma'am.
Josna Das, you want to ask any question? You have written. Can you directly ask that question?
Yeah, I can read the question from Jyotsna Das. Uh, she's asking, is social media so vital area to update every now and then? Madam, thank you so much for this question. I can't stress enough on how important social media is, especially LinkedIn, not social media. I won't say Facebook, I won't say Instagram, I won't say any other social media, but LinkedIn. LinkedIn is the platform to go in case if you want jobs to search you. Everywhere we search jobs, but if you want jobs to search you, then LinkedIn is the place to go. I can definitely say for sure there are HR companies, HR recruitment agencies who scrutinize the profiles on LinkedIn and reach out to the people, to the individual with jobs which pertain to the interest. For example, if I'm working in monitoring, evaluation, and learning, then I am approached by various HR agencies with jobs in M&E. So while when I say it is indispensable, it is in case of in the hunt for jobs, in the the quest for jobs. I won't say that if you don't have a social media, then a company, while going through your resume or CV, will not shortlist it or will not consider it. No, that is not the case. But for the ease of application, for the ease of getting getting noticed, social media, LinkedIn to be specific. If you have any corollary or a next question to that, then please do ask.
Hello, ma'am. Thank you for your session. It's very informative session. So I want to know, like, whenever we are getting any job, like when we are applying, we are applying CV and resume. So which one will be better? We should apply CV or we should write resume?
Can you introduce Silly?
Yeah. This
Can
is
you
Silly
introduce
Dalai.
yourself?
I'm working in skill development sector, FETRS, Functional Vocational Training and Research Society in
Okay,
Bangalore.
thank you.
Hi, Miss Silly. Thank you for your kind words and thanks for the question. As I said right from the beginning, there is no distinct characteristic of CV or resume, if I can say so. And as my first slide says, first slide on the resume actually says, resume is the relevant information that you want to give, whereas CV is all the information that you have professionally that you would like to give. So, in most of the cases, the job ad itself highlights whether they want a CV or resume. And sorry, in all probabilities, they are referring to one and only thing, that is information about your work experience and skills. So in Indian context, as far as my understanding goes, the resume and CV are not that distinct for the development sector. That is what I have felt by far. So when you apply for yourself and reach out to specific person without any ad, when you solicit job, you should always give your CV detailing all the experience that you have. But when you apply to a specific job, in lieu of the advertisement that they have published, it is always better to give your resume to capture the attention of the reader and highlight the relevant experience that you have. Does that answer your question, Mr.
Yes, madam. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Silly Dalai. Any other question? Anybody want to ask? And second, I request you, if you have any doubt, any question, or anything related to developing the CV and developing the skill, you can directly ask to our speaker. I hope there is no more question. So you have prepared very nicely your PPT, and as our audience told, it is a very nice presentation, and very illustratively you deliberated everything. And I hope since many people are working in development sector, and generally they have to know search for a new job, or switch from one job to another, this session will be definitely helpful for them. And thank you so much for your for accepting our invitation and delivering on such a most important topic and issue. It is basically mostly helpful for the development professionals like us. And I must thank Abha ma'am and Gauri sir for your consistent support and encouragement. We are about to know complete 5 months of this session. It was designed for a period of 5 months and 20 lectures. Only 3 lectures are left. Otherwise, today is the 17th one we have completed. And definitely this support and encouragement empower us to design such type of lecture. And definitely if such support will continue in future, we will also design other similar type of lectures to support the people, those who are working in development sector, those who are doing their research, or those who are aspiring to know the social issues or developmental issues that is prevalent in India and beyond that. Thank you so much. Once again, we will meet in the next Saturday at 6:30. Thank you all.
Thanks for all the participants.
Thank you so much.
Via